Hey guys, what's up? We're Demir and Carey from Lifehack Bootcamp.
Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about one of our very favorite productivity books. That's no lie. I'm like a fanboy of this book. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport.
We've had the pleasure of interviewing Cal for our Lifehack Summit 2017, and we've learned a ton from him. Not only about this book, Deep Work, but also his other book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. Both of those books made our top 19 productivity books list.
Yeah, what's really interesting about Cal is that he's actually not a coach. He's not a speaker in this industry. He's a young MIT PhD in computer science, and he's currently a mathematics professor at Georgetown University.
Like, what? And apart from this crazy awesome career he's had in education, he's also had the time to write 7 books and created this entire community of people who are trying to become better learners and better workers.
Yeah, so not only is Cal able to succeed in his chosen realm, computer science, a very hard industry to succeed in general, he also runs a successful blog, he's written a bunch of successful books, he's become a pillar of the productivity community today as sort of his side gig.
Right, which makes the rest of us feel incredibly inadequate. So the main premise of this book is that our ability to focus has essentially been annihilated in the distraction culture that we live in today. So it's not only harder than ever to stay focused, we're also actually losing our ability to focus.
Which is both terrifying and a call to action. So he distinguishes the ability to focus intensely and create valuable work as something he calls deep work. And that's separate from the other kind of work, which he calls shallow work. So shallow work is just those menial tasks like responding to emails and going to meetings.
He says that deep work is the work that gets you promoted, whereas shallow work is the stuff that just keeps you from getting fired.
Yeah, I love that analogy. And this is really like a light bulb moment. It's really like a new truth.
So his book has 2 goals. The first is to convince you that there are 2 different kinds of work, that deep work and the shallow work that we just talked about. And it's also to convince you that deep work is far, far more valuable in terms of where it gets you and how it contributes to the economy.
Yeah, and the second goal is to teach you real practical steps to actually help you regain control of your brain and your environment so you can do that deep work. And he wants to help you be one of those few people in the knowledge economy who can truly, truly be capable of doing this deep work. Truly hard, focused, valuable work.
So we've come up with 4 key takeaways from this book that we'd like to share with you today.
Number 1, not all work is created equally. Cal really differentiates that what most of us are doing with most of our time these days is called shallow work. We're responding to emails, we're knocking small tasks off our task list.
But what we really want to aim to do is knock off a large quantity of these small, low-impact tasks and actually replace them with a much smaller quantity of super valuable, high-impact tasks.
So it's like the 80-20 rule. You want to be doing the 20% of your work that gets you 80% of your results instead of focusing on the 80% of your work that only gets you 20% of your results. Guys, by no means is this easy stuff. It's actually really hard.
Yeah, because first of all, no one is out there telling you to do this right now. We're being told from all sides to get those small tasks done just to get through our day. So we're not conditioned actually to consciously make space in our schedule to churn out new ideas and actually valuable high-level work.
And further, guys, actually doing deep work is hard. And Cal admits this. He describes deep work as tough, mentally straining work. You need a lot of uninterrupted time to do that kind of work.
So we have to learn how to not only distinguish the deep work from the shallow work in our day, we actually need to teach ourselves how to really immerse ourselves in deep work.
And deep work is really closely tied to the concepts that Gary Keller and Jay Papasan call leveraged work in their productivity book, The One Thing. And we talk all about that awesome book and that awesome philosophy in that book review, so make sure to go check out our book review on The One Thing.
It's also pretty closely tied to what we call champagne moments here at Lifehack Bootcamp. So if you need some further help identifying what constitutes as deep work in your life, check out our article all about champagne moments. I'll link to that below.
And the opposite of deep work is shallow work. That's our number 2 takeaway. We have to consciously track and veer away from shallow work. He calls it draining the shallows. So it's reducing the amount of time that we dedicate to that shallow work, like meetings, emails, small tasks that don't really matter.
Yeah, and so by putting constraints around the amount of time that we let shallow work consume our time, the more time we free up to get down to that nitty-gritty and really open ourselves up to deep work that's actually going to move us forward.
Yeah. Number 3, today's economy is a winner-take-all economy, which means it's super competitive. The consumer can easily find their way to the best of anything. So that means that all of the rewards trickle up to the top 1%. Think about Google or Netflix. There's no real competitor. Number 1 is miles ahead of number 2.
Yeah, so more than ever, we need to be doing our very best work, because more than ever, the best work is what's being recognized and rewarded completely disproportionately to the rest.
Yeah, ask yourself this funny question. If you're the first result on the second page of Google, how successful are you? And the answer is not at all. Nobody goes to the second, third, fourth page of Google. The only thing that matters is, are you the first result on the first page of Google, and you're getting 99% of all that traffic and all that business.
Okay, and lastly, number 4, our ability to do deep work is being eroded. So just as the importance of doing deep work is really beginning to rise, our ability to do it is equally becoming more and more of a struggle.
But instead of getting stressed or depressed about this, oh my God, I'm losing my focus, society's against me, which it sort of is, deep work gives you the unique opportunity to really get ahead of the game. It alerts you to the fact that we all need to be immersing ourselves in that ability to do intense focus and churn out high value work. And it gives you an alternative paradigm to letting this distraction culture just eat you up and spit you out.
Exactly. So awesome. We have given you the premise of the book and a few of our key takeaways. And now what we want to do is talk about why this is such a prolific, just game-changing book in the productivity sphere.
The best I can say is that when you read this book, it immediately feels to you like advanced common sense, like it's your new truth.
Cal Newport is very persuasive about how today's distraction culture is not just a byproduct of new technology and gadgets, it's really a runaway trend that's just ruining our ability to control our environment and maximize our focus.
And he takes it even a step further by saying that it's not just becoming harder to focus, he actually argues that we're losing our ability to focus. It's permanently being eroded.
And instead of just laying out this big societal problem that he's unearthed, he provides actual concrete tactics and solutions for people who are willing to start regaining control of their environment and actually put in that deep work.
And since it's such a well-rounded, compelling read, it's pretty hard to find a critique here. We always try to find one critique for a book, but this one's really hard to find a critique of.
Yeah, because not only is it persuasive, not only is it fun and easy to read, it's also incredibly timely.
Yes.
And incredibly urgently needed in the time that we live in right now. So it feels like something we all need to hear and need to be reading today.
Okay, that being said, since it's so current and it's so timely, there's a chance that a decade or more from now, it's gonna feel a little bit dated. Maybe in 10 years, it's gonna start feeling and sounding like Getting Things Done. A great book, but one that feels like it's a little bit dated. But right now, it feels so urgent and so important.
Now that you know what the book is all about, is this book for you? Should you actually read this book?
Yeah, in our opinion, if you're someone who struggles with staying focused, with getting in the zone, staying in the zone, if you're more distracted than ever, maybe even if you're one of those people who feel like you have adult ADD, you have to read this book. But even if you don't feel like there's anything wrong with you and you just want to get to the next level of performance, this book is definitely for you too.
So in terms of a hypnotism score, meaning how easy is this book to read and how enjoyable, we gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
Meaning not only should you read it, but you'll actually really enjoy reading it too.
Yeah, if our hypnotism score is higher, guys, it means that a book summary really just is not going to do this book justice the way that reading the book would.
Amen.
What's funny is there were moments when I was reading this book and I found myself laughing out loud and nodding my head in agreement. I was nudging Carrie in the bed and, reading quotes to her. It really is that good. It packs that kind of punch.
So how does this book fit into the Lifehack Bootcamp methodology? Well, it certainly does, because our entire first week of our bootcamp centers around time mastery and focus mastery. But sometimes focus can be quite vague, right?
Yeah, everybody says focus, you need to learn how to focus, but what Cal has done with this distinction between deep work and shallow work and the tools that he teaches you on how to create deep work is he gives you an additional level of nuance that really helps you see with more clarity what should we be doing and how should we be going about our work such that we can drain the shallows, and how should we be going about our work so that we can do more work, deep work and less shallow work.
So it's providing this way to circumvent all this technological distractions that just seem to be preloaded into our daily lives. And deep work is actually the paradigm shift we feel that everyone taking our bootcamp really, really needs.
Absolutely. So how did this book change our lives personally? For me, I'm really distracted. Carrie's not as naturally distracted. So this book finally gave me permission to step into a level of intensity and about blocking distractions. And it did that in a way that was more intense than any other book or method out there. And it did so without making me feel like a grumpy anti-technology grandpa. So the number one thing this book did for me was inspire me to take action to control my focus in a more extreme level than I ever had before.
And for me, this book allowed me to turn deep work into a habit.
Yeah.
So I can command a state of deep work really whenever I want to now. The benefit is when I fall into the state of intense concentration and focus on whatever I'm working on and really churn out a lot of great work without having to block off the rest of the week and just hole up somewhere where no one can distract me. I can actually include deep work as part of my everyday schedule without it feeling like some unicorn that I'm chasing or can never quite get my environment just right.
Yeah, awesome. So now let's talk about 3 actionable steps you can take after reading this book. First, take back control of your environment.
Yes.
And this is all encompassing your physical environment, your digital environment, even your mental environment.
The second step is a real call to action. It's to stop keeping your smartphone within arm's length at all times.
Yeah.
Stop sleeping with it next to the bed. Have large chunks of your life where your smartphone cannot penetrate.
Yeah. And lastly, start tracking your deep work hour by hour, minute by minute. This is something really powerful that Cal does. He tracks how much time in his life he dedicates to the work that pushes his life forward, his family, his career forward, the work that gets him paid and recognized. And he does this over long spans of time to show himself how much time he's really dedicating to the work that's launching him forward. And so should we all.
All right, guys, again, we're Carey and Demir. Thanks so much for watching this book summary, and check out the other awesome summaries we have on this page.